Hey guys, so today I thought I'd do a little something different. This is my Flywoo Explorer. It's a 4-inch long-range quad. And one thing that is very helpful with long range is being able to tell when your battery's getting low. Unfortunately, I shorted out one of the wires and it seemed to kill the battery monitoring circuit or something. I don't know. Whatever the case, I can't tell how much battery I've used, so that is not good. I tried the current sensor from Cyclone FPV, soldered that in there, ran the wire. You can see the yellow wire there. Yeah, I tried that. Same thing. So yeah, I'm assuming I blew something up there. So what I'm doing today is I got a new stack, which that took a while to get from Hong Kong, from Flywoo. Yeah, gonna replace the one in here with this. So, and I just dropped it. And I don't have a wiring diagram, so I'm just gonna kind of solder one section at a time and kind of go from there. So what's in the package? So I've got the this is the ESC, electronic speed control, and I've got the flight controller. This is a Goku F745 Nano, 16 by 16. So this is a pretty small. This is pretty small quad, pretty small stack. What else we got here? Some foam, very helpful. The Flywoo sticker. This is good since I cut my other connector here. So I'm gonna hook that thing back up. And it looks like I've got a capacitor and some long screws, so that's good. Silica gel, do not eat, and knowledge base. So cool. So far I really like Flywoo. I like the products that they put out. They do a good job packaging things and giving you a complete product. I like to DIY, but yeah, sometimes it's nice to have something that's put together. So yeah, cool. Okay, as you can see here, I've got my camera stand here in the frame. This is all at an angle. My bench is not very deep, so I'm kind of making do with what I got here. So I've got this magnetic screw tray, which is pretty nice. Got it from, I believe, Race Day Quads. I've been shopping primarily from Get FPV, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, and a little bit from Cyclone FPV, and one I hadn't known. I ran across them when I got some ND filters, Catalyst Machine Works. That doesn't really sound like a drone company, but yeah, they got some really great stuff actually. All right, so I don't know if this is good. Magnet is good for capacitor. I'll just move that to the side just in case. I don't know. I'm not an electrical engineer, electronics engineer. Yeah, anyway. So what we got to do first here is we're going to tear this thing down. I've got to take the top cover off. I'm going to take the props off, of course. I won't be powering this, but it'll be nice to get them out of the way. Yeah, I'm going to pull off the Caddx Vista and just kind of get stuff out of the way. so I can get in there and start soldering. I think I'm gonna have to sort of leave this in place to do a swap. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting. So I think I will cut ahead so you guys don't have to watch all this, but here we go. Got these awesome screwdrivers, by the way, MIP. They're almost too good. This thing will tear up the screws before the the screws will tear it up. So, all right, let's take off the props. I'm gonna put all the screws in the magnetic tray. Very helpful. There's my hairy ass arms. Lucky you. Oh, dear viewer. Let me get all these screws off first. Ooh, that one was loose. The other day I went to the lake, and did a flight there. I took off on gravel, and that was probably not a great idea. I think I got gravel dust in the motors, so I kind of got a little bit of well, gravelly sound, I guess. So I'm probably gonna have to replace these motors again, which, yeah, kind of sucks. The best thing to do is to desolder and resolder them, but as you may or may not know, desoldering really sucks. Yes, that's the only word I know. Okay. All right, props coming off. I have a prop remover tool, but I find just, yeah, it's a good try, newbie drone. I find just doing this does the trick. I don't know. Let me know if there's any reason why I shouldn't be doing this. Pulling apart the motors or something. Does it ruin the bearings? I don't know. That's why I shop at Newbie Drone, because I am a newbie. All right. Props are off and off to the side. Okay. I am going to pop this thing out here. So that's kind of out of the way and not, don't worry about breaking it. So now we're gonna take the top off. I'm gonna take this Velcro piece off. It's Flywoo. They make really nice stuff. I have to appreciate the engineering work that they put into this stuff. All right, here we go. The purple pieces, these are all stuff that I've 3D printed. I have a 3D printer to my left here. Yeah, it's been a fun part of this whole hobby as well. Okay. Let's see, I've got that soft mounted. Definitely helped with the jello, and you can see how dusty it all is from that damn gravel. I don't want to mix up the propeller screws with the body screws because I think they're just slightly different sizes. No, they are the same. Never mind. So we're good. All right. All right, so here we go. Take the top off. Very dirty. Put that off to the side. Okay. All right, so here's what we're replacing. The stack right here. So I'm gonna move this to try to free this up, free the wires up. And And yeah, it's just about getting stuff out of the way at this point. I'm gonna have to desolder all that stuff. So this is this is gonna suck. But I will get battery monitoring back, and that will be worth it. So, all right. Okay, here we go. I've got this tool for my Traxxas RC car. It's come in handy. I think I will, yeah, you guys are coming on a journey with me. I will probably cut this up so it'll look like I know what I'm doing, but otherwise, you will get to see me fumble through this. Lucky you. It's probably a better tool to do this, but this is what I got. I'm out in the garage. You can probably hear the crickets. It's the, you know, background ambience. All right. All right, so I'm taking this off. Put that aside. And one thing you want to do, make sure you back this up. By this, I mean the BetaFlight config, and so you want to be able to restore that. I think I might be missing one of those plastic washers. All right. Now this has the rubber feet pre-installed, so that looks about the same. All right. Here's the wire in question that started all of this. This was a power wire for the Insta360 or GoPro, pre-soldered, very helpful, but I accidentally chopped it up in the propellers, and yeah, wires touched, shorted everything out. It's very bummed. All right, anyway. Okay, I have a cap for this thing. Would be a good idea to put that on there. My handy 3D printed milk crate where I stashed the lens protector for the camera. So I'm gonna put that on there just to be safe. There we go. Okay. And yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do here, I should be able to lift out, I'm gonna disconnect the FC from the ESC, but I need to get this out. So yeah, let's get that disconnected. Luckily these are the same size, so I'm not too worried about mixing those together. So I haven't torn this down this far before, so I'm a little bit nervous about getting this all back together correctly. But hey, I've got video evidence, right? I'm gonna check all the connections once I get this back together. It kind of looks like the antenna for the Caddx Vista may be not as securely in there as I'd like. Okay. So let's take these screws out. Oh, actually, those are in, there's like a plastic nut in there. I don't know if you can see that. And it's a threaded nut, so I'm just gonna try to lift this up. Yeah, it's all pretty tight. All right, I guess we're taking this all off. Yeah, it's just TPU, it's not too bad, so. All right, got that off. Yep, so I thought that loosened it right up. So pop that off. All right, one thing I want to note is we've got this wrapped cable here. That's the GPS cable wrapped in copper. I'm going to try my hardest to make sure everything ends up, all the cables end up laying to one side away from the GPS cable. I've read that people have had problems with GPS fix because of that, so I'm going to try my best. All right, and I really don't want to mess up this ribbon cable. This all feels very precarious, so bear with me here. I think I should probably take this antenna off, so I'm going to take that, loosen that screw there. I had to look this up when I first did it, but loosen that screw there. Take this metal cover, slide it right off. Of course, it's a lot easier when this is not in the body, or in the frame rather. And we'll just pop that off. There we go. I had to learn how to do that because I already broke one of these before. All right. All right, so yeah, let's try not to ruin those wires. Okay, let me just zoom in a little bit. All right, so the situation is I've got this wire I can get rid of, so I'm not going to use that. I have the Crossfire receiver there, the Bluetooth module here, which is, it's been pretty nice. So I think as far as plan of attack, I'm going to try to take this off again. Now there's a plug on the bottom here. Whoops, yeah, if you can see those pins. So attempting to unplug that. Okay, looks like I've got it, but got some wires that are stuck here. Let's see what's going on. Is it that? What's going on here? Oh, it's probably just that. Okay. Caddx dangling. Now I am replacing this flight controller, so I'm not too worried about that. But I really don't want to mess this up. Okay, so yeah, these wires are kind of in there, so what I'm going to try to do, I probably should take the GPS off too, damn it. Let's see how easy, actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's just go for it. We're tearing this sucker apart. So I've got the buzzer down here, which I do need to replace. Oh, yeah, that sucked. I've got the buzzer here, which I do need to replace. I actually have one right here. So that's probably a good idea to do this anyway. Okay. All right, so I've got this guy. I'll get this cable out of the way. This out of the way. There we go, okay. And buzzer, there we go. Okay. All right, now that I have it kind of separated like that, my plan is I'm gonna take this guy here and you know, now that I'm looking at it, that's different. Should be fine. Now the flight controller is the same. I think this one is just is a little bit beefier. It's a 35 amp. And I think this might be the 20 or 25. Oh, that thing is bigger, isn't it? Yeah, there's still room. This should be interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to get the motor wires in the hole there. Yeah, we'll see. I guess this plus and minus is kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm guessing I will I'll stick that in like that, I guess, and bend it over, and then, or yeah, I don't know, these don't really go in the hole there, so I'm just gonna put a ton of solder on there and hope for the best. Okay. Okay, so I started desoldering this stuff, but I realized, now bear with me, this is my first time kind of doing this, and I'm trying to figure out as I go. I realized that soldering the power cable and the capacitor on the new ESC would probably be easier, so I'm going to do that right now. So let's make some room here. I've got this crazy ass, with like a 8, is it 8? 4. Yeah, I've got this crazy 4-arm holder thing, so but I just need one here. I'm going to hold this here. Okay, got my soldering iron, a little solder there. Okay, so we just need a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is cut this guy. Long leg is positive, so let me switch that around. Short leg is negative. I think what I will do is actually put this in here. And bend that down. Put that here and bend it down. This is a bigger capacitor, but I should have room there. Let's see. Yeah. That should fit okay. There we go. Let's see, that one is about that length, maybe a little bit shorter actually. Okay, just gonna put it in there, bend it over like that. My trusty hand here, hold on to it, and I'm going to put some solder on here. And this will get me ready for the wire anyway. Yep. I should do solder first. All right. Okay, that looks good. Next, I've got the power connector here, battery connector rather. Looks like it's already pre-tinned a little bit, so I'm going to add on a little bit more. And here we go, got this other hand. So I'm just going to put on a little bit more solder there. Okay, there we go. All right. I do have my iron at 850 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems to work pretty well for most things. You just don't want to set your iron on there and let it burn for a while. That is you don't want to stress out the components too much. So I'm gonna do this. It's a little bit loud, but it's kind of nice for doing something like this. I'm gonna get this guy set up here. I'm trying to make sure I've got solder on the pad down here. It looks like it's not heating up. There we go. Okay. This whole board is very hot. So I'm gonna have to leave it at that. But not bad. Not bad at all. All right. Got a little solder on here. Nice. Okay. Okay. Power cable's on. That's good. That'll save us a step. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and trim that up. There we go. Looking good. Okay. I'll set that aside for now. Now we get back to desoldering. So I'm going to get my soldering iron out here, and I'm just going to start on these guys here that are closest to me. That'll probably be the easiest. I've almost got everything disconnected here. I'm going to go ahead and just heat this up so I can pull the cable off. Luckily, I'm not going to use this ESC or FC. So if I happen to damage them, that is okay. All right. Okay. So since I know that these are all in order, I'm just going to desolder these. And in fact, I'm just going to pull these off. Just like that. So now that these are free, all I got to do is take them, solder them in here on that side in order. So that's what I'm going to do. Get this guy out of here and get the new one in place and go from there. So let's do that. Okay. That's that. Here's the old one and the new one. So this is a 35 amp. The extra amperage just means it can handle a 6S battery. But I'm going to continue to use a 4S, and I should not see any impact to long range or weight or anything like that. So I ordered the wrong one, but it's not going to be an impact here. This is a 15 amp, I believe. So, okay. All right, so let's get the new one in. And we'll start soldering up the motors again. Okay, so I'm just getting these screws in the rubber grommets here. And this is harder than it looks. Okay, so I'm not sure you can see that, but I'm getting these screws in the holes. Okay. I'm just going to push those screws up there. All right. So it's got the same rubber standoffs in there. It came pre-installed, so that looks good. Hopefully all this stuff still works. Okay, sarcasm. All right, here we go. Let's get these motors soldered back in. I'm going to put just a touch of solder on each pad here. Just a touch of solder. Since the wires already have a good amount on them. Okay. I'll just make sure I didn't actually accidentally bridge anything. Looks good. All right. Okay, I'm going to get this guy out of here again. And you can see here, got them taped down, so I just want to make sure I've got the right order. Okay. Probably would recommend removing the tape here. I'm being kind of lazy. I don't feel like removing the tape. So now I'm just struggling to make sure I've got the right one in the right position. All right. Okay, just want to make sure. This is tape I added anyway. No going back now. That's some dirty tape anyway. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so right to the right, middle to the middle. Okay. All right, left to left. Okay. Okay, again, let's check. Did we bridge any? That looks pretty good. Solder job could be a little less sloppy, but that'll do. All right. All right, next we got these ones here. This one is a bit more obvious. It's the original tape. I could not find what the original tape is called. Otherwise I would have gotten some. Okay, there we go. We got nice beads on there. Okay, first one on the left. Middle. All right, now that we have that done, I'm gonna spin this around and work on the next side. Got these wires here. Again, we want to make sure they're in the right order. Yeah, so I'm going to tin the pads up. All right. So I'm just going to do like I did with the other ones. Take the wire, just hold it up there, give it a little heat, and we're there. Okay. At the left. All right, now the middle. Okay, and the right. Okay, I think I got that. All right. And now I'll clean these wires up a little bit after I'm done. Okay. All right. Now the last one. All right. Okay, there we have it. Got all the motors soldered in. Okay. So now that that's done, I will go back and dress up these wires. I'm just going to leave them as is right now. So now we have the flight controller. I have all these kind of components just flopping around here. Now I do have this new buzzer, so I'm going to get that ready. We're going to put that in there. And so what I need to do is make sure that I've got all the components ready. Looks like this opens like that. Another sticker. I got a lot of these. Okay, here we have it. Okay, so, all right, that's great. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside for now. It looks like, actually, hold on. Yeah, we're gonna need to trim up those wires. All right, first thing I'm gonna do though, I'm gonna start moving one component at a time here. And that plan is, hopefully, that'll make it easier to know where I'm going on the new flight controller. So if I match this up here, you can see for the Caddx, I've got the wires situated in that way. This is kind of strange because for the buzzer and the GPS, I've got the wires on the edge here. So that's gonna be a little tricky. All right, so I think first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my trusty octo arm here. I'm gonna start tinning up the pads to prepare. So I can see here for the Caddx, I've got these first 4. So I'm gonna put a little solder on each one of those. And hopefully not bridge anything. Oh yeah, that is tight. That is tight. Let's see here, I'm trying to get my elbow in here. That's a good bead. That's what I'm trying not to do. Luckily, I've got the rosin core solder, so the flux is doing its thing. It's keeping the solder onto the metal. So if I keep making mistakes, it's kind of making it not as bad. Let's see, am I going all the way across? Yep. I'm gonna have to take this off and inspect it. Make sure I didn't bridge anything. So it sure feels like I am. Okay. This makes me realize I probably should be doing this under a magnifying glass. All right, let's compare here just to make sure. So first 4, oh, it's first 5. I can't even count. All right, so I need one more there. And then the front edge, I've got 7 there. And I've got, let's see, so I kind of missed the first one. Looks pretty good. That flux is really helping out here. I got a little bit of solder there. So I'm looking at my solder rather than the camera, so I was a little bit out of frame there, but I'm gonna just see if I can. So I've got a little capacitor there or something. There we go. Man, this is not easy. Okay. This is not for the faint of heart. So let me get a little bit more solder in this first one. Okay. And the 5th pad on the side here. All right. Okay, shaky hands. All right, let's inspect it one more time. Make sure I didn't mess anything up there. Now I'm thinking I probably should tin up everywhere I'm gonna put something. Since I've had this free, I think that's probably the right way to do it. Again, this is the power. It was originally set aside for the for Insta360, I think they said. Probably would have worked for a GoPro, but I'm not going to re-solder that in. So it's just this Bluetooth module here, and the crossfire receiver. Okay. This yellow wire, again, is just my attempt at getting the current sensor to work. That was not successful. I'm just going to remove that altogether. Okay, so I did realize I could resolder this on to the flight controller, and if I forget settings, if I need to plug these back in, in order to power up the flight control, or the ESC rather, I will need to have this connector for the battery. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside so I have it available just in case if I need to do that. Okay. All right. So back to tinning. So it looks like I've got the four on the side here, or on the top rather, and then I've got 4 on the top there. Yeah. And then I believe these are on the front, which I do not need. These 2. So, all right. Let's get this going. Okay. 4 on top. Here we go. So I'm trying to heat up the pad a little bit and touch the solder to the tip and the pad. You're supposed to heat up whatever you're soldering and put the solder directly onto the metal. That doesn't always work though, for me. I'm no expert. That did not work very good. This is kind of a tight fit here. There we go. The tip I'm using is probably a little too big. And my hand a little too shaky, but I'm getting the job done. Okay, there's that one for the Bluetooth module. And I'm assuming we'll have to add a little bit more solder in there. But the wires are pretty small, so that should be good. It's these side ones I'm worried about, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. These components are pretty hot. So again, you don't want to hold your soldering iron on any of the components for too long. It can handle the heat, but you just don't want to overdo it. All right, moving on. So now we have the four pads on the top on this side for the receiver. All right, here we go. I'm going to start on the right. And sometimes it helps to just put some solder on the tip and then touch the tip to the pad. Very much some trial and error sometimes. And if you screw it up too much, that's what a good solder sucker is for. All right, I don't like this one right here, but it should be good enough. All right, so now we have that ready. I'm going to start desoldering components and try to get them back in on the correct order here. So we got yellow, white, black, red. So let's see if I remember that. And again, I'm not using this flight controller again, unless I gotta, again, like plug it in to check firmware. So I don't really care too much about whether I burn it or do anything bad to it. All right, so I've got these kind of in order. So let's see how this goes. All right. Let's take a look at that. I think that ground wire, I do not like how that turned out. Let's see if we can fix that. You see that ground wire looks a little bit janky. Okay, here we go. That is ugly, but I think it'll work. That power one is terrible. There we go. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, next we're going to do the crossfire. So again, we've got white, yellow. Wow, it's all out of order. Cool. All right, so we got white, yellow, red, black this time. I'm going to try to keep these wires. So let me get these out of the way. That's kind of, these are really annoying. All right. Okay, make my life easier. All right, here we go. White, yellow, red, black. Somebody remember that for me. Okay. White, yellow, red, black. Oh, that's why you have a pad there. Just melted the table. Okay. All right, so this is all free. That's nice. I'll move that to the side. Now this is kind of, I'm on this, I've got the antenna wire here. It's attached to the antenna. So I think what I'm going to do actually is work on the Caddx Vista first and the GPS. Now I can get all that stuff soldered up and then get that one in last. All right, sounds like a plan. I realize doing the ones on the front side here are probably going to be easier. As you can see, the wires kind of go down, so why don't I work on that first? Let's see, I'm just trying to get it over with. All right, here we go. Let me tin up these new wires. Okay. All right, so what do we got here? From left to right, red, black, white. Okay, here we go. Looks like they're kind of twisted a little bit, so I'm gonna kind of twist this a tad bit. And then red, black, white. Yeah. Okay. So right on front here, I'm gonna try to just put them on the side and see what happens. There we go. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. Now these front ones are easier than I thought. Now, since I pre-tinned them, once I heat up the solder, I just go right into that groove. You see that? That worked out great, actually. I am shocked. I thought those would be the worst of it, so as long as I don't bridge anything, we should be nearly there. Okay. All right, next, we're gonna do the GPS. having trouble here. Let's see. Can I get a better angle? All right. There we go. Okay. So now, GPS, red, black, blue, yellow. Okay. Trying not to melt everything. All right, so red, black, blue, yellow. Now this, I'm just gonna hold these up here. It went so well last time. Okay, let's see how we did. It looks pretty good. Ground looked... I don't think I've got bridging there. All right. Great, looking good. Okay. Next. The Vista. All right, so now we have these here. I'm going to desolder these pads. Okay. Easy peasy. I'm gonna put this aside. Actually, I'm gonna take this off while I'm at it, so I don't have that flopping around if I need to use this for any testing. All right, there we go. Bad flight controller. Bad. Sorry, okay. All right, let's get this Caddx on here. So I'm gonna lower this down a little bit. Put this down. Okay. All right. Caddx, here we go. So, what was the order? Red, blue. Let's see here. Red. Oh, wait, this needs to be... Yeah, how the hell is this running? I think that was under. Yeah. So this is gonna go like this. Right? This. Man, this cable looks chewed up. Okay. All right. So this is going under like that. So with that in mind, I don't want to make this too difficult on myself. All right, so I'm just gonna hold this then. Okay, red. There's one tiny component right there that's gonna make my life difficult. Okay. Holy hell. What a freaking pain that was. Okay. That looks not bad. Realizing that capacitor is going to make this a real pain. I think I did not give myself enough room there. All right, we'll see. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to seat this flight controller on top of the ESC, and then we'll get the crossfire hooked up. Okay, I had to go back and review some footage to see what the order was for this. So what I've got here, the flight controller, I'm just gonna set it down here and let's see how it goes. I'm gonna try to get started here. It's pushing these screws out of the bottom right here, so I'm trying to push them in there, keep them in there while placing this down here. So this is what I was kind of afraid of. I need to make sure I've got the GPS on one side, the Caddx on, and the power should be on the other. So I've got to get these in between. So ultimately the wires are going to run this way. So that capacitor there is making it kind of a pain. So I'm just going to push this down a little bit more. You can see there the connector is lined up. That's looking good. So I'm just going to push this down and hope for the best. I realize I probably should, actually here, let me, should be able to push these wires down. There we go. Just got to get past this capacitor. I should be okay. And I did not leave nearly enough room in there. You can see I'm trying to push the wires underneath the cap there. I may have to resolder that. I'm gonna see if I can get this through here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Could be cleaner, but I am only an amateur, so I think this will be just fine. Now the next hurdle, I just noticed that capacitor, the angle it's at. Let's do a test here. Yeah, look at that. It's in the damn way. All right, so what I'm gonna do about that? I think this is a smaller one. Yeah, 25 volt 220. This is a 470. It's because of the bigger ESC I got, the 35 amp. Takes a bigger capacitor. I've got this pushed all the way down now. Let me see. Let's see what that looks like. It's looking like what I'm gonna have to do is try to, let's see here. Is that gonna fit? All right, I think I can get it in there. All right, let's try it. Let me see here. Okay. Okay, let's see here. This has got to go here. These go underneath. Okay, let me get that out of the way. This is going to go here. This has got to go up. Okay. All right, moment of truth. Okay, I've got kind of there. I'm trying to decide as if I force it, I can kind of just shove it down there, but I'm thinking if I lift it, if I lift the back here, then get it all pushed down, and hope for the best that all of these connections still work. Yeah, what do you think, guys? That is a big capacitor. But I think that's going to work. Make sure these wires are pushed over. I think that's going to work. All right, last thing to solder. We're going to finish this up. So this is all in here. That's looking pretty good. Got this guy in here, just barely. And then we're gonna get this in here. So before it was kind of laying on top here. So I'm gonna try to solder it in a way that I could lay it down like that again. So what I need to do here is I've got, let me keep this twisted. I need to go white, yellow, red, black. So just gonna take this guy here and get it done. Here we go. Okay, there we have it. Oh, it could look better, but I'll take it. That's it for soldering. That was a huge pain. I need to get everything screwed down now. But for soldering, got all the components back in there, so that's good. All right, beautiful. Next. Okay, so we're getting in there, getting it in there, looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and screw this stuff down, just so it makes it a little easier to work with. I'm hoping I won't regret it. If there's a problem, I'm gonna have to take it all apart. But I'm feeling ambitious, so here we go. All right, I've got all of this on there. Okay, I've got the plastic washers on. I need to get the this metal piece here. Oops. Okay. I want to get this sort of secured so I can just not worry about it kind of flopping around. So my main goal right now, oops, so I want to get the Caddx sorted out. La Vista Caddx, I don't know. Video system. These are really tiny nuts right here. One thing I'm gonna have to make sure I do is make sure I end up with the flight controller being level. Right now it definitely is not, so I'm not too worried about that at the moment, but it is something that I'm going to have to also sort out. I got these little tiny screws here, or these little tiny nuts going on the little tiny screws. So again, I'm just trying to start getting things secured just so I can work with it. All right. I've got this thing to get back on. These things are flopping around, so I want to make sure the wires are all in the right spot. Now this, if I push it down, it goes down. So I think I'm in good shape with that. That capacitor really is just really in the way. And I want to make sure that it's not, yeah, that wire in there is not too tight. So I don't know if, let's see, can you see that? Yeah, there you go. See how the wire's pretty loose right there? So I'm not too worried about it. It should be fine. I think the main thing right now is making sure I can get the nuts on there. So it's not pushing down all the way, so I think maybe the wires are just bunched up. So let's take a look at that. All right, let's see. I'm just using this thing. It's got a rubber tip, the protector, and just trying to move this stuff around without wreaking too much havoc. So this power plug, battery plug rather, that's going to stick up like that. So I think, what am I squishing on? I think maybe that wire is just bigger. Oh no, let's see here. I think I see the problem. And I really do not want to screw that up. So it looks like the battery power cable is kind of bunched up. So I'm just gonna see if I can situate that. I'm pushing down on the Caddx. I feel like am I hitting something? Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. These wires right in here. I'll try to push those out of the way. So I'm going to try to push them out of the way, and then I've got to push them back so that they're not hitting the GPS wire. The GPS wire is shielded, but I'm still seeing that there can be issues acquiring satellite connections, acquiring the 3D fix seems to be a problem. So I've got this front corner here sorted, so I'm going to go ahead and put the nut on. All right. I think since that one looks good, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of snug it a little bit. All right. Yeah, that seems to be pretty good in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get those nuts on there. That is feeling pretty solid. So the next worry is getting this thing situated again. And I forgot which way this is oriented, the buzzer. So I'm gonna have to pause the video and go take a look. Yeah, and the other thing is getting this guy back on. So everything is feeling kind of like, everything's kind of a tight fit because of this guy. So luckily I do see it is not sticking out up over the posts here, so it's not gonna prevent that from going back on. So it could be worse, I guess. All right, let me just kind of, I'm not gonna make these super tight yet. Okay, great. That's looking pretty good. One thing I want to do before I give this power, I'm gonna check some of the connections and make sure that I didn't bridge anything accidentally. You know, and the thing is, this capacitor is metal, and then it's sitting right on top of some connections actually, so that's probably not good. Okay, so after thinking this over, looking at this thing, I think this is a really bad idea to have this metal capacitor in here. So I'm not going to make you watch it, but I'm going to swap it out. Got this huge kit here of capacitors, so I've got the same size in here. Let's see. It's the 25 volt. Yeah, 25 volt 470. So it's roughly the same size. Maybe a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter. So I'm going to swap this out. I'm going to probably put some heat shrink on the legs. Just going to make sure that there's no possibility of shorting. I really do not want to do this again. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. In 3, 2, 1. And there you have it. I swapped out the capacitor. I gave it a little bit more room, and everything kind of fits a little bit nicer in there. I did test this, the conductivity of the casing on this, and found that it's not conductive, so I probably would have been fine with this. I'm not an electronics engineer, so I did not know that, but I feel some more peace of mind with this guy in there. So there you have it. So next thing to do here, I've got to level that out. So I'm going to tighten that up, and I need to reattach GPS and the buzzer. So that's what's going to happen next. Got to make sure this is centered. I see this is kind of, because of the rubber grommets there, it's a little bit wiggly, for lack of a better term. So I'm going to make sure that that is straight. All right, so now we're going to level this thing out. So I'm going to put the screwdriver on this side, and then use this guy, tighten it down. You don't need to squish it down too much. That is soft mounted for a reason. That helps reduce the jello and overall flight characteristics. So I think that's okay. It still looks pretty. I think I've got a wire that's kind of pushing up the back. It's making this more difficult than it needs to be. We're looking on the front. Pretty good. I think we're pretty close. So I may just have to not go too tight on the back. It's that the metal plate isn't even, but as long as the flight controller is, it should be fine. Okay. All right, looks good. All right, so I'm gonna take this off, get the camera seated again. I've got this Bluetooth module that sits right behind it, so that one is okay. The Crossfire receiver is gonna sit right here on top, so I just need to get this in place, not squishing the wires. All right, there we go. Okay. Last thing here is this back piece. So I've got this here, and I forget how it goes on, so I am going to look at some pictures and I'll be right back. So first, I'm gonna put this on here. I'll get the antenna back on. Bad thing about micro quads is you just don't have a lot of room to work with. So, all right, here we go. I think this needs to go down a little bit, but I'm just gonna get everything in place and then I'll worry about that. This is a little bit tight. There we go. Okay. Let's get this plugged in here. I'll make absolutely sure I've got a good connection. So this is very important for long range. Well, it's really important for any range, really. Oop. I always have trouble with this. Okay, so you see what I'm trying to do here. Just gotta get this flat but I keep getting it at an angle. Nope, thought I had it. Here we go. All right, there we go. See, I got that on there. It's pretty tight. I'm going to get this little tab over it before I mess it up. This thing is pretty tight too. I'll try to push it in a little bit without breaking anything. Oh, I see here. I just noticed there's a little tab down there that you have to get that thing underneath. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. See that little tab? This has got a hole there. I did not realize that that's what you're trying to do rather than just shove it under there and hope for the best. So I can see that it does not reach. So I'm not sure, maybe that's good enough. So you see that that post thing is not in the hole, but I don't really have any more room, so maybe this thing's bent. Yeah, maybe that's bent. Probably because I didn't know it was there and I just forced it out when I dismantled it. All right, it's good enough. Tighten that up. Okay, antenna is on. Now I've got some slack there in that black wire. So I'm gonna try to, just gonna push this in, post in here so I can see how much wire I'm dealing with. And then you can see that kind of just looping around there. Should be fine. I say it should be fine a lot, but I guess what I mean is we'll find out during our test flights. So I realized doing test flights are very important so you don't get out to a sweet spot and find that you can't fly. So backyard hover test, highly recommended. All right, let's get this in here now. All right, cool. So I've got it started. I just want to make sure that, see the wires here. There's a little groove there that they're sitting in, and so that's fine. I want to make sure that this is in nice and tight. Push that forward so there's a little pressure on there. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. Okay. All right, that is in there. And look at that. Antenna is there. This can go down a little, I think. No, that's hitting, that's probably okay. So I'm hitting that metal piece right there. So I'm gonna actually lift that up a little bit. I definitely do not want the antenna connector to come apart while flying, so okay. I'm just going to get a couple of screws on this top part. And then we're going to work on plugging it into the computer and checking the firmware version. I did plug it in. I see it's back one version, 4.2.8. My other one is on 4.2.11. So yeah, we're going to see. Yeah, we're going to see how that works. So let me get a couple of screws in here. I'm going to attempt to get a screen recording of the BetaFlight process. So bear with me on that. I am a YouTube newbie. Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna clean up my workspace a little bit and get the computer out, and then we'll get cracking. Okay, so I've got the computer here, got the wire. Let's get it hooked up. So what we're gonna do is, I did already plug this in. I would recommend plugging this in at the start of this, and maybe I'll put a disclaimer at the very start, just to make sure, you know, power's on and it looks okay, and you can get it to come up on BetaFlight. I did that and it looked fine, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, and we're gonna look at BLHeli first. So let's do this. Okay, no smoke yet. Get the blinking blue light. So let's go ahead and connect. And we're gonna read setup. So I took some screenshots beforehand, and I'm gonna compare what these need to be. So, but where the hell did those go? Shit. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I took some screenshots to see what to actually set these to. I need to do this quickly. The Caddx is on and burning up as we speak. So here are the settings. Let's just compare these here. Looks pretty good. It's all the same. But I believe we need to change some of these. So we have ESC1 is reversed. Okay. Looks like all the other settings are the same. And then we have ESC4 is also reversed. So we'll set that. And you can do flash all, but since I'm only changing these two, I'm just going to do flash. Oh, actually, sorry, not flash. I'm going to write setup. Okay. All right, so let me reread that. Reversed, reversed. Let's just make sure. ESC1 reversed, ESC4 reversed. So, okay, looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect here. It's promising. I'm gonna just unplug this before everything burns up. So I've got, yeah, that does get hot, that Caddx. My beeper looks to be working all right. I'm gonna hold down the button, make sure it doesn't beep on me. Okay, so next we're gonna take a look at BetaFlight, and what I need to do is update the firmware. So let's go ahead and connect. And, you know, I'm going to test one thing. This right here, the battery monitoring, is the whole reason I went through this. So it's looking like I'm seeing some values that are not zero, so it's promising. I'm just going to plug this in real quick and see what it looks like. And that is a beautiful sight. It's battery voltage and amperage voltage, or amperage. Yeah, amazing. That was the whole point of this. I'm glad to see that it actually worked. So I'm gonna unplug that. Oh, you know, before I do that, let me just make sure that the motors actually are working. And let's see here. Hey, they're all turning on. Awesome. Hear that gravel in there though. Oh, that sucks. All right. Okay. I'm gonna take this battery off. All right. Once again, beeper. Okay. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. That Caddx is hot. I wonder though, is that if my capacitor is also getting hot? I'll check on that in a minute. Okay, it is hot in the garage here, so all right, let's connect up here. What I'm going to do is get a backup of the default config here, do a diff all, and I'm going to save the file, save to file, new FC defaults. Okay, just in case I have it to refer back to. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect here. Click on update firmware. Now I'm using a Mac. On my Windows machine, I had to go through all kinds of crap for getting the USB drivers to work. And I'm hoping that I'm gonna have a better experience here. So let's work through this together. I have not done this on the Mac yet. So choose the board. That was the F745 Nano. Luckily they have that in there for you, so no problem. Oh, and they have a 4.3. I haven't gone to 4.3 yet, so I'm just going to go back to the 4.2.11, which is what I've been using previously. So I'm just kind of trying to get back to where I was. I'm going to do a full chip erase. And yeah, so that should be okay. If you lost communication, okay. So I'm going to load firmware. What that's doing is it's just downloading the firmware. And it's downloading it from online, so I don't have the local, so I'm going to load from online. Let's see, here it says loaded online firmware. All right. So I think I'm going to turn this auto connect back on. Let me see. Actually, I'm going to go back here. Let me connect up. There is a setting here. If you go to enable expert mode, activate bootloader. I'm going to hit that and just make sure I can get into the bootloader successfully. Okay, so it should show up there. I may have to boot it up with the button held down. And I've heard that this is a problem. If you have everything soldered on the board already, this could be an issue. I was hoping that I'd have a better experience with the Mac, but it looks like it is the same problem. So we've got just a single green light there. The red lights are from the Bluetooth module and the Crossfire RX. I don't have my receiver turned on, so that should be in bootloader mode, but it is not showing up here. So I'm just going to try to do it again and hope for the best. If not, then I got to take the top off, and I'm going to take the metal plate off here again. Or maybe I can just use a pin to press that. There's a little tiny button on this board that if you hold that down while plugging in the USB, it'll force it into bootloader mode. So yeah, I guess, yeah, let's try this again. That is a huge pain. All right, so you can see here, this immediately changed. That is nice on the Mac. Seem to have a better time with that. So let's go ahead and connect up, and we're going to activate the bootloader again and hope for the best. Hey, there it is. DFU STM32, which is the chipset bootloader. Cool. So I've got the version not selected here. Let me reselect this. It still has that loaded from online. That's great. The options here, I don't need to do show unstable. It's pretty self-explanatory. No reboot sequence. As it says here, if I hold down the button while plugging in the USB, I force it into bootloader mode, I would want to check this option here. Since I didn't do that, I'm going to leave that off. Fold chip erase, I've heard that that's a good thing to do just to have a more stable experience. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have the BetaFlight dump, so I'll just restore that since this is going to wipe out the configuration. And manual baud rate, I'm not going to select that. Okay. All right, so here we go. We're going to flash firmware. Erasing. Oh yeah, I forgot this part. Okay. Programming successful. We did it. All right. So I don't see the blue light there, so I think we are still in. Are we still in bootloader mode? Let's go ahead and connect and see what it looks like. Okay. All right, so since we erased the config, we need to apply our custom defaults back. Okay. So this is warning because there's no configuration on there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to CLI, and we're going to load from file. And I got the new FC defaults. All right, so no config found, so this is going to rewrite back the default config. So let's go ahead and open it. And I'm going to go ahead and execute this. That's all the defaults. I didn't modify it. So here we go, execute. All right, so now let me reconnect this, and we are going to restore the settings from my other flight controller. So what we're going to do, let me turn off expert mode. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to CLI, and we're going to load from file. Actually, I'm going to miss this part. We're going to diff all again here, so I have the defaults for 4.2.11 just in case. I don't want to end up in a situation where I need this. It's on the website, you can download it there, but just in case. New FC 4.2.11 defaults. All right. So now what we're going to do is just like we did restoring the defaults after flashing, we're going to load from file. And this is a dump from my other bad flight controller. And we're just going to hit open here. One thing I want to make sure is I actually, using the resource commands, I swapped the pads for the current sensor in my mad attempts to get it to work. I want to make sure that I deleted that from that file. I'm pretty sure I did. Okay, looks good. So this is going to restore back my rate profiles, the little GPS tweaks I did, any of my modes for arming, horizon mode, etc. That should be all restored after this. So here we go. Okay, restarted the flight controller. All right, and let's take a look here. So let's go straight to modes and let's see what I've got. So aux2, that is my arming, Horizon 1, GPS rescue. Yep, that all looks good. I do have my receiver plugged in here. Throttle looks good. Yaw. Okay. Pitch, roll. All right. Cool. Okay. So I have my receiver set to crossfire there. Telemetry. Yeah, this all looks fine. All right. My PID tuning, I didn't change anything here. I don't like this caution here, even though that's the defaults from Flywoo. So it hasn't been a problem before, so I'm just gonna go with it. I think I had set up rate profile 2. Looks like I didn't on this one. So I'm just gonna leave this as a default as well. I haven't gone through the process of dialing this in. Configuration. I did notice that the default from Flywoo is D-Shot 600, but I restored D-Shot 300. That's over here now in motors. So I'm gonna leave that as is and maybe read up on it and see if I do need to tweak that. So yeah, we're looking good. I think what I'm gonna do now is we'll do a hover test. So I think that's about it. Hover test. Good enough for me.